Well, it's 6:30 in the afternoon. It's about 48 degrees out. Very nice April. Figured I'd walk you around this tiny house, or tiny cabin. It's a dry cabin. Still needs to be sided. This was a kids' playhouse. So the playhouse had a porch, so the roof overhung. We boxed this in. The reason the windows are a little bit low is that was where the old roof or wall header was. So extended it that height, and it was a free kids playhouse. So we put it on a trailer, drove it out here into not quite wilderness, but you know, reasonably wilderness. We're about 20 miles from Talkeetna. So I figured I'd give you a look. We scabbed on just a little section here just for the winter, just so that we could gain access to it easily. We have, I don't know, there's probably 1.5 feet of snow right now that I'm walking on. It's got wiring, fully wired it. Buddy Terry suggested that. Wood storage. The metal roof was the same. It's just patched together. It's just free. Only thing we did on the roof is put a fireplace in, cubic mini stove. I'll show you that here in a minute. And then just scabbed together just a shield to stop the snow load, because there's a lot of snow out here. You can kind of tell how much snow there is still. There's a lot. The only reason there's not that much at the front door is the tractor moved it out. So it's wired. Generator switch here, just an Amazon special. A little bit hard to see. Amazon special with a switch. Just flip it on, flip it off. There's no other power out here besides solar. And in the winter, not enough sun. So flipped the door around. It was a free door, got it custom. Just flip the hinges basically so it can swing out. Hence also the need for the shed roof, because if the door swings out, how do you get in if there's a lot of snow? So, bunk beds. 2 little windows up top do not open. These windows at the bottom do. We have a ceiling fan, little mini Amazon special. Built the ladder. We found that we had a standard normal bunk bed in here with a ladder, but this one's a lot easier to get in. Hold on one sec. Hey, Libby, no, come here. Well, if you want a Belgian Malinois, that's what you, hey, no. That's what you end up getting. No. A destructive pain in the biscuit. She just took that out of here while I wasn't looking. A little higher. Okay. Still being destructive. Alright, so custom built bunk beds. They take up a little less space than the standard. Then we have some nice twin mattresses. Dog bed. It's a cubic mini grizzly stove. Wood fireplace. So stainless steel flue that comes with the kit. You have to buy it obviously. With a little shield. Upgraded to the base. I think if I did it again I would not pay for the base. I would just build it exactly the way I want. Reason being, it's a couple $100 for the fun of it when you just put it on whatever you want, basically. Found that in the winter, when it's 20 below, it uses a lot of firewood and you got to get up a couple times a night. This is the size of the wood that we're putting in it. 6.5-inch pieces of wood. And there's the firebox. So you can see, and that's my hand, right? So it's not very big. Lasts about 3 hours. I'll do a little startup video on that. But once you have it going, it bakes this place out, but it only lasts about 3 hours. So because of that, you have to get up every few hours unless you want to freeze. So a couple things that we've done in here this is the first winter of this little mini cabin. We stayed out here 10-15 times maybe in the last year. Showed up, frozen cabin, get it heated up with a little Mr. Buddy heater. That works pretty well to take the chill off right when you get here. Then within an hour or so with that running, it does a pretty good job. Problem is the firewood would all be frozen, so I just built a rack for the firewood to heat up and thaw, because with it on the ground, everything on the ground would freeze. The dog water would freeze. We would pretend this was the fridge. Anything down there would freeze. If you want alcohol cold, it would be cold. So try to figure out how to get the water to not freeze while you're boiling up top, because whoever up here would be boiling. Down here, okay. The dog, frozen. So I got a little electric blanket for the dog. So it's just a temporary solution. Right there, there's a little fan. It's on right now, you can barely hear it. There's an adjustment for it that I mounted right there, so at night you can turn it up and down. And that goes up here and to here. So that's just a air filter, little carbon sock on it. It's really designed for a grow room. It was just an Amazon special. So that temporarily, the idea was, instead of the ceiling fan, which kind of just doesn't really do a lot, suck the hot air from down and blow it to the floor so that the floor doesn't freeze. Good in theory, didn't really work. All it did is kind of make you feel cold because it was blowing the cold air right at my face. So what I'll end up doing is moving that probably somewhere around there. And I may have it, instead of sucking the hot air from up top, may have it suck the cold air from below and push the cold air up. Another test. Just see how that works. Building wise, again, this is just the floor plan that we had. So extended the walls, the roof, everything, reframed it. Nothing was really square. We also used rough milled lumber. So we were practicing at that, and so some of the walls are a little bit bowed, just because dimensional lumber versus sawmill lumber isn't always the same even when you try. So because of that, it's a little bit different. And then just siliconed and spray foamed. The entire thing is insulated with insulation that was either free or reduced cost. The floor has insulation foam board, and then put another subfloor down. That was easier than getting underneath it. To insulate from below. Not quite enough, as we found out, because the floor kept freezing. Any snow that would come in on your boots, never, no matter how hot it would be in here, would never melt. So we'll end up lifting this cabin and putting it to a more permanent spot, and with that we'll also be insulating underneath. Wasn't something I wanted to do just because I don't really want to crawl underneath it, but it'll work nonetheless. Insulation wise, it's great. There is a little bit of air loss up top, just from the nature of the beast. Tall ceiling, small building with a wood stove. But what's nice about having the wood stove is it doesn't burn, or it doesn't have too much moisture in here, which a propane heater or the Mr. Buddy heater would create too much moisture in here. So because of that, when you're out snow machining or just doing whatever, it really works well. You just have to make sure everything stays up high. So lots of shelving up high, lots of coat hooks, more coat hooks, and then again, the whole place is wired, so we have outlets. This is always on. It's just a boot heater, another outlet there. I may end up putting a TV here for the summertime. Kind of fun having the kids come out. The ladder is kind of a cool like ship ladder design. It was just kind of a little fun project. Cedar steps, and that's just 2x8, 2x10 that I notched, sanded, routed, all that sort of fun stuff. That works really well. That way you don't fall coming out, coming down this ladder to use the restroom or whatever at night. So dry cabin works really well, more of a bunk house, if you will. Ideally, we'd have it a little bit bigger with a full shed roof on the outside. Probably build another, to be honest. Thinking maybe build another and put it somewhere out there. Because there's a track in the summertime. Well, in the winter you can see over there. We've kind of used it. Neighbor's house over there, and then the main road. It's really not that in the middle of nowhere, but fully off grid. No water, no sewer, no electricity here. Ironically, there is internet. So we have Wi-Fi. We're super roughing it here. But yeah, that's the walk around of, we'll call it tiny bunk house. I'm not sure what to call it, but it allows us to not have to sleep in tents in the summer. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions, you want me to be more specific on something. Just kind of a rough overview.